Good morning, students. I welcome you all for commerce class. So far, we have completed with part 1 and 2 from chapter 9, that is up to features of public corporation. Today, we are going to discuss in detail about advantages and disadvantages of public corporation and government company and its features. Do listen carefully, students. Advantages of public corporation. The first advantage is bold management due to operational autonomy. Bold management means effective management is carried on in public corporation. That is, public corporation enjoys internal operational autonomy, that is freeness, free from government control. It can therefore run in a business like manner. So they can run free business without any control of the government. So management can take bold decisions. Bold decisions means effective decisions without the consultations of others, persons or other organization. So this is done. This bold decisions is carried on involving experimentation in its lines of activities, taking advantage of business situations. Next advantage is legislative control. Legislative control means according to law. So the affairs of public corporation are subject to scrutiny by committees of parliament or state legislature. So according to the parliament or state legislature, there will be legislative control. The press also keeps a watchful eye on the working of a public corporation. The corporations, that is schools and corporation institutions. So these all will be checked by the press. Why parliament or state legislature as control? Because they keep a check on unhealthy practices on the part of the management of the public corporation. Next advantage is qualified and contented staff. So public corporation offers attractive service conditions to its staffs. That is, they are giving offers, more offers for the staffs who are working in the public corporation. So they attract only qualified staffs in order to work in this such corporation. Because of qualified and contented staff means those who have knowledge of the work. So industrial relations they have, related problems also they will overcome. So such type of contented staff will work in case of public corporation. Staff has a motivation to work hard for the corporation. Since they are giving attractive service conditions, they will work more hard and effectively in order for the upliftment of the corporation. Next we'll move on with next advantage is tailor-made statute. So the tailor-made statute by given a special act. So by which a public corporation is created. So according to that statute means act. So it is created by statute that can be tailor-made. Tailor-made means what? To meet the specific needs of the public corporation. The corporation can function in the best manner to achieve its objectives. Objectives means what? Goals. Next advantage is not affected by political changes. Even though politics may change due to the election commissions, so due to elections, once in 5 years what happens, they change the politics, they change the leader. So according to that, even though there is political change, a public corporation is not much affected by such changes. It can maintain continuity of policy and operations because it is the control is in the hands of parliament. Next advantage is lesser likelihood of exploitations. So exploitations cannot be done in public corporation because the board of directors in the public corporation consists of representatives of various interest groups like labor, consumers, etc. nominated by them. So as such, there is lesser likelihood of exploitation. So they will not try to exploit the corporation. Next advantage is reasonable pricing policy. From that itself we can understand the pricing policy of each and every products, goods and services will be reasonable. So a public corporation follows a reasonable pricing policy based on cost benefit analysis. What is meant by cost benefit analysis? It is a process used to measure the benefits of a decision taken in an organization or actions taken. Hence, with the benefit, the public are generally satisfied with the provisions of goods and services involved in the public corporations carried on by the public corporations. Next, we'll move on with disadvantages of public corporation. The first disadvantage is autonomy and flexibility only in theory. That is, the first advantage itself we saw operational autonomy. But here what they are telling is that is only in theory, not in practice. They are not putting into practice. Only in theory they are knowing about autonomy and flexibility. Even though it is exists in a public corporation, it is only a theory. In practice, there is a lot of interference in the working of a public corporation by ministers, government officers, and other politicians. Hence, they are not free to take any decisions. Next disadvantage is misuse of monopolistic power. So, public corporations, they are using the power in a wrong way. That is, they often enjoy monopoly in the field of operation. As such, on the other hand, they are indifferent to consumer needs and problems, and also often they do not hesitate to exploit consumers. Next one is rigid constitution. So the rigid means what? Very strict. So the constitution of a public corporation is very rigid. It cannot be changed without amending the statute of its formation. Hence, the public corporation, they cannot be flexible in their operations. Next disadvantage is low managerial efficiency. Quite often what they do is civil servants who do not possess management knowledge and skills, they are appointed by the government on the other hand in order to operate the efficiency of the public corporation. So board of directors of a public corporation as such, they lack managerial efficiency. So managerial efficiency of public corporation is not as much as found in private business enterprises. Next disadvantage is problem of passing a special act. Special act means what? Special statute in the law. In a public corporation, they cannot be formed without passing a special act, which is a time consuming and difficult process also. Hence, what happens? The scope for setting up public corporations is very restricted. Restricted means what? Very difficult. So next one is clash of divergent interest. Divergent means what? Diversity. That is different interest of different persons. So when the different interest, that is different opinions arises, there becomes a clash. Clash means what? Misunderstanding, fights between the persons in the public corporations. So within the board of directors of a public corporation, conflicts may arise among the representatives of different groups. So according to that clashes, the functioning of public corporation, it cannot be developed because the growth is being hampered. Hampered means hindrance for the growth of public corporation. Here we come to the end of disadvantages of public corporation. Next we'll move on with meaning and features of government company. Next we'll move on with meaning and features of government company. According to Companies Act 2013, Section 2, subsection 45, a government company is a company which is not less than 51% of the paid up share capital is held by the central government or by any state government or governments, or partly by the central government or partly by one or more state governments, and includes a company which is a subsidiary company of such a government company. It is already explained for you all. I have already explained the meaning for this in chapter 6. Next we'll move on with features of government company. The first feature is registration under the Companies Act. So this government company has to be registered according to the Companies Act of 1956, and later it has been modified with the Special Act of 2013. So however, the central government may direct that any of the provisions of the Companies Act shall not apply to government company or shall apply with certain modification. So this registration will not apply for the government company, but other companies has to be registered under the Companies Act. Next feature is executive decision of government. So since it is a government company, it is created by the government. So decision also will be taken by the government without seeking the approval of the parliament or state legislature. Next feature is separate legal entity. It has separate legal entity because it is separate from the government. It can acquire even property and also can make contracts with other companies and even can file suit against other companies in its own name. Next feature is all or majority capital provided by government. So since it is a government company, the majority of the capital, that is 51% of the capital, must be provided only by the government. Even it can provide 100% also, but if it cannot provide 100% means at least 51% should be provided by the government. But the revenues of the government company are not deposited into the treasury. With this, we are completing this part here, students. We will continue tomorrow. Thank you, students. Listen carefully and understand it.